every year we have a strategical session. In this session, we are trying to understand from the different markets, from the different areas, what are the new threats, what are the new opportunities, what are the changes that they see. And once you talk to all these people, you are able to form the strategic agenda for the company, and you are able to decide what are the strategic, to determine what are the strategic objectives of the work plan. And what we do is something like this. We start with in September. September is a month, it could be August, could be October, depends on what is your timetable. A strategic session, just strategic session before the work plan. And in this strategic session, as I said, we have the managers of the major markets, the major fields, and each of them is preparing a list of what he sees are the opportunities, the strategic challenges that he's going to have during the next 3 years. And once you hear all of these people, it's very easy to create an agenda, and then of course you go with the work plan, and I'm not going to go through the whole process of work plan, but what you do through this session, strategic session, is you really develop, at the end of it, you develop a strategic agenda which serves the management of the company throughout the year. Because in strategic agenda, there are issues that the management has to deal with it throughout the year. And of course, we talk about it, these are the sudden changes. If there are sudden changes, we need to improve to enhance our foresight. If there are new opportunities, we have to build new capabilities, new threats, and so on and so forth, and you build the strategic agenda. And I think that this is the way that enables us always to identify changes early on and before other people in the industry because of this simple process. And of course, once we identify the issues, we try to build up scenarios. We see a change in the market, we try to understand where it's going to lead. The opportunity is not clear. So we are going through many, many scenarios. And once you go, you are building many scenarios, eventually it's very clear. One scenario, it's becoming very clear that is going to win the winning scenario, or the scenario that is going really to happen. So I think that by this very simple, looks like simple strategic process, we can be the first to imagine. And this is very important because, the most important strategic risk is that you don't identify early on the opportunity. And this is the most important strategic risk. The other strategic risk is that, risk is that you identify the opportunity, but you don't execute. This is the execution risk. So let's move to the other side, to the execution risk. I think that one of the major issues of a global company is to decide, first of all, what is global and what is local. And there's always a tendency. The global always wants to do something which the local should do. This is the headquarters. This is the powerhouse. Which is going to would like to do more than it should. And it's very, very important. And many multinationals or global companies really fail because they didn't identify very clearly what is global and what is local. In the case of Netafim and the case of Teva, we decided that the local is the market, the clients, the regulatory issues, the local supply chains, and so on and so forth. And the global are those capabilities that the local cannot develop in a competitive way. For example, R&D, economies to scale, production, economies to scale in purchasing, and so on and so forth. The whole idea of managing a global company is to have a very strong subsidiary or company in the field, which is able to build all the local competitive capabilities, and to complement it with something which the other competitors cannot get easily, the other local competitors cannot get easily, and this is the global resources, like economies to scale, R&D, new technologies, and so on and so forth. And it's very important not only to say what is global, what is local, also to put up the rules that says what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And for example, in this case, I'm just giving you something that we did in one of the companies. We say scale is global. All these, yes, there are areas with high need for risk management. This is done by the global. Priorities between different geographies done by the global. Lockout commitments. You know, sometimes there is a small, for example, if a subsidiary is signing a confidentiality agreement, it's bound the whole company. You can't do that. It's locking the whole company. So you have to control these small things. Areas, this is very clear, and so on. There are a set of rules which says this is what this is where the global management is going to interfere, and the rest is in the hands of the local management. In Teva, for example, the global manager of operation, that means say production, had the responsibility to lead decision-making processes that answers two questions: where to produce and how to produce. You should never deal with what to produce. What to produce is the mandate of the local company, because they have to build their own portfolio for their client, etc., etc. It's not for the global. Yes, where and how to produce. How is technology? This is and where to produce is again economies to scale. And what we did both in Netafim and Teva, given is a bit different animal. We say that the global is the supply chain, because then you have the acquisition of production of raw materials, the R&D, the production and the logistics, and then the local is the customer, the regulations, the marketing, and the local supply chain. There is a very clear definition between the two. And what we were able to develop was a value to the customer. This is all what we have done, generated or created a value for the customer, because we offer the customer, first of all, a very rich pipeline of products, which is very important for him, continuity, a reliable supply chain because of the economies to scale and center of excellences, vertical integration, which secure both low cost and supplies, focus and commitment. In Teva, for example, most of our competitors, the other generic companies, always said, we are now generics, but later on, when we are going to grow up, we are going to be, what's happened here? We are going to be an innovative company, because the club of generics is not the high class club. So we are going to be an innovative company, and this always disturbed the customers. And we said, we love the generic business. We are going to be in the generic business forever, and we are going to be the leader there, which really give comfort for the customers. We developed the legal acumen, all the patent challenges, etc., which gave security to the customer that we are going to continue to supply with all this pipeline of new products, and of course the product breadth and technologies that we offered him. All of this really came through this. I have time problem? Okay, I'm going to finish very soon. Now, the other thing which I would like just to touch on is management. It's not enough. Whatever I did is not enough, you know, because, okay, we decided what are the rules, etc., etc., etc. But really the most important challenge, I think, for a company is how to manage the complexity of its business. And the complexity is increasing when you go to new markets, when you make an acquisition of a company, when you add a new product line. And I don't have to tell you, you are very successful students, that when you have 2 customers, 2 products in 2 geographies, you have to manage 8 contacts. When you just double it, you have 4 products, 4 geographies, and 4 customers. You have to manage 64 contacts. And this is, of course, much more complicated. But complexity has an advantage, because in complexity you have also value. Because, to manage 8 contacts is very easy. Everybody can do it. 64 is something else. 640 is even more challenging. 6,400 is even more and more challenging. But you have a lot of, if you do it well, you have a lot of value there. And I don't have to explain very much about the complexity. So really, management of complexity is the key for success. And I can tell you that most of the companies, multinationals, successful multinationals that failed because of lack of management capacity to deal with the complexity of their business. And management capacity is the key to deal with complexity, and without management capacity, you cannot be successful. And in order to do that, you need to have global managers, and global managers that are able to deal with different disciplines at the same time, have, these balls in the air, and once you have this, and you have the management capacity, and you run through the right strategic processes, you have very good chances to meet the challenges of this of today and of the future. Thank you.